be on my recording that I'm going to put on the website. Okay, so we're going to learn how to do recordings. I'm going to use the egg catcher game. I'll actually start from the last one we did, and we'll make an egg and we'll make a background. Okay, so I'm going to copy the code in from scratch, and we see that I don't have a background, I don't have an egg. So it's always good to look at the reference. If we go to p5.js, right here, we can go in the reference area and the examples, and they'll give us examples of how to do stuff. So I'm actually taking the code from the images thing right here. I think it gives me examples. It gives me some context, and it actually gives me code right here that does it. So this draws an image. Now I can't copy and paste this code, unfortunately, and just put it in my game. And it is a little tricky to figure out, like, how do I get this reference and how do I put it into my code? So I'm going to explain my thinking, and then I'll just give you the code on how to do it. So first off, the first thing it does is it declares an image. Let img. We know at the very top that's how we declare X variables. That's how we declare sentences. So at the very top of my code, I'm just going to go let img. Now, this is the name of my variable. It's not a special word. And I don't actually really like the way that they did it because we don't know what image this is. This is just image. But later on in a video game, we may have lots of images, right? We may have a background image. We might have the egg image. We might have the chicken clucking image and he's pooping out eggs, right? We might have animated images. So we should say, what image is this? BG. Okay? So this is our background image. Now, then it has a function called preload, and it does, I don't know what preload is. I imagine this happens before setup, right? I'm actually not going to do this because we have setup and I don't need more functions confusing people. So I'm only taking the load. This is how it's loading it. So I'm going to put it right in my setup. Now you might say, you know what, it's actually better if you do it in the preload because it's like 3 milliseconds quicker, right? I don't really know why they did it in the preload. I'm just going to do it in the setup. Sometimes you'll see this. You'll see that they declare it up here and they load it up here, but sometimes they declare it and load it on the same line up here. And the reason why is usually if it involves a function or a more complicated call, you can't do it up here. Okay? So since we can't just do it up here, I imagine this won't work. It would be nice if it did work. We wouldn't have to do it in setup. It doesn't like it. So instead what we do is we have to declare it up here, but it's not done, and then we have to load it down here. Okay? So we have an image. It's called ladefense.jpg. I got to make sure I put BG here because I called mine BG. And then I've got to actually load the image into P5. So let's get a background image. I'll be real quick. I'm just going to get egg hunt background. See if I can take one. That's pretty cool. I like this one. Okay, so there is some art to making sure the image is the right size. If I have a 400 by 400 canvas, I should get a 400 by 400 image. I should make that in something like Canva or something like Photoshop or GIMP or Inkscape, but I'm not going to cover that. I'm just going to take a simple image. I'm going to put it in my downloads directory, and I'm going to give it a simple name because I got to type in that name. Right? So my simple name is bg.jpg. So now I go back to P5. I open the arrow here, this arrow, and I go upload file. I upload bg.jpg. Okay? And now we see that it's here. If I didn't rename it, I can rename it now. So please don't ask me why isn't it loading, and then I look at your file and there's like 100 characters in it and it's complicated because you have to then name it here. It's not in the assets folder because I didn't make an assets folder. So really all it is bg.jpg. Now, I've uploaded my image, I declared my image, I loaded my image. The only thing left to do is draw the image. So that's just this command right here. So I can draw it right after the background. Actually, it is the background. So image, bg.jpg, and these are the x and y coordinates. Okay, and now I have it. Now, a couple things. I have two things drawing a background. I have this, and I have this. I actually don't need this anymore. Okay, you can delete it, or you can comment it off. Okay, I would suggest commenting it off is better, because later, when you're doing complicated images, maybe you're doing an enemy, and it's not loading. You might say, like, where's my enemy? Is there something wrong with my game? Or is there something wrong with my image? You can undelete the comment and get back to the red square or whatever the enemy looks like and say, oh, okay, it's not the enemy, it's the image. And I'll show you that right here. Like, right here, I won't load another file because I want you guys to get to work. But let's say I want this egg to be the background image. Well, I know that I could use the image function. I could use any image I loaded, which is bgimg, you know, and then I want it to be, where do I want to put that image? Right here. Okay. So it's at that x, that y, that width, that height. And I have the other circle, which is confusing, so I would suggest you comment it off. And now you don't see it. Okay? Any questions about images? No. Okay.